Did you know people tell stories about us?
Yeah, apparently we're a little bit legendary.
Carry on there'll be peace when you are done. Lay your weary head to rest. Don't you cry no more.
Let's begin.
Huh? Yeah.
I have sort of been working with the British men of letters.
I know how much you hate them.
No, we hate them. Us, together.
Lucifer is back.
Once I rose above the noise and confusion, just to get a glimpse beyond this illusion.
Crowley's dead, and the devil is out looking for his son.
A Nephilim has come into being.
I can feel it. And it's Mother.
Though my eyes can see us still,
The baby's not evil.
though my mind could think
He showed me the future. I have faith.
Don't.
This child.
I can hear them say, carry on high.
She will shoot you.
Don't you cry no more.
Just in case.
I did it with you.
You did, but just in
It was
case.
so loud.
Just in case.
Still throws off the same guy.
There we go. Can we sync with that? Yeah. All right. Cool. Hello there. Welcome back. My name is Justin. This is
Katie.
and we are here to talk about Supernatural Season 12. Yay!
Yay!
Let's give a quick recap of what happened in Season 12 as best we remember it off the top of our heads right now. We're in Episode 1. What happened?
Mary Winchester came back to life.
Yes, and for most people that
happened at the end.
That happened at the end of Season 11.
Right.
So it was a surprise for you because you didn't watch Season 11, right?
Or 10. Or
Or
9.
If you watched our last discussion about Supernatural, you know that we have not kept up too well with Supernatural these last couple of seasons. But I did watch a little bit of 10. I watched most of 11. And then because somebody commented on our last video that we should check out 12, we decided to watch 12. So yeah, that happened at the end of 11. I don't remember how it happened that Mary came back.
Amara was super mad grateful about being reunited with God, and then she's like, I'll give you something that you really want.
Except that the writers only want them to interact with their mom now because they've had time with their dad. I don't know why Amara would be like, yeah, just your mom.
Because she really likes Walking Dead. Amara is a huge fan of Walking Dead.
I think it was Billy, who I fucking hate. I hate Billy.
She's the new Death, right?
She's a Reaper. Just remind me, we'll come back to Billy because
Okay.
I want to finish the recap of season 12 before we start talking about like individual. Before we start getting sidetracked and talking about individual things. Episode 1, we've got Mary coming back, and that's also the British lady of letters has kidnapped Sam. So, if we remember when I talked about the Supernatural season formula in the last discussion, we've got two things happening where, like, you know, the new bad has shown up and the brothers are separated because Sam's been kidnapped and Dean's wherever the fuck he is, right? Kidnapped and tortured, which was crazy. But they didn't have the other thing that I mentioned that always happens at the beginning is that they have a secret from each other, you know, like, but there wasn't any secret. So I don't know if they just couldn't come up with one or they just didn't give a shit, or I mean later there's a secret where Sam's working with the Men of Letters, but he tells him like the next episode, he's like, oh yeah, I've been working with the Men of Letters, and Dean does what he should have been doing since season 6 or 7 with these secrets, and he's like, all right, cool. He's like,
we'll give it a shot.
We'll give it a shot, sure. If you trust him, I guess I do too. Instead of it being, I wholly expected it to be like, Sam, you've been working with the Men of Letters, I can't believe it, Sammy. And it's like, that they didn't do that. And I was like, oh, kudos.
Because they didn't have Castiel or Crowley to, like, take them away from each other. You know what I mean? Like, they weren't there to separate them.
And at the end of season 11, we had what they always do in a finale, where they introduce something of the big bad for the next season, which was the British Men of Letters. You didn't watch any of 11, right? You don't know anything about Amara?
I watched, like, the last maybe 10 minutes. That's why I knew about how Mary came back or whatever.
Cool. Season 11, bullshit. Like, it's a lot of bullshit. Do you know about the big reveal in 11 that happened with God?
I know they're brother and sister. I know she has a connection to Dean, and that's like...
So you don't know about Chuck. Do you want me to tell you?
Yes.
Okay. In season 11, they reveal that Chuck was God all along.
I thought we already knew that.
Did we?
I thought that was like a thing.
I think people suspected it,
Oh.
but it was confirmed in season 11. And that's
I mean,
terrible. Chuck's God?
Of course he is. In their world, as much as he's done, like with the fan fiction episode, and I don't know. Of course he's God.
I don't know. That pissed me right the fuck off. I wholly 100% believe that when Eric Kripke introduced us to Chuck, that Chuck was just the prophet of the Lord. Now, if he were to come out and say, no, I meant for Chuck to be God all along, fine. I still hate it. But, you know, if that's how it was, that's how it was. Sure, I'm wrong. But I don't think that that was the case. I think that the new showrunners were like, ooh, what's going to be a big reveal? What can we do? It's like, oh, Chuck is God, of course. I just like God being gone. It's like, why give him a face?
Right.
And if you are going to give him a face, just be like, oh, you were God all along? He's like, well, I'm kind of everybody. And then have him shift into, like, a black person. And then him shift into an Asian person, an Indian person. And he's like, I made all of you in my image. I'm all of you. Just make God bigger. You know?
I completely agree with you. I don't think that, like, Kripke meant that at all. I think because the show's so meta, and they have so much fun, like, messing with previous showrunners, especially him, I think they were just like, well, of course he has to be God because he created this world and, like, this, that, and the other. There was no other person that would be God in that universe except for Chuck.
Okay, back to the recap. So she tortures him.
We're so far off.
We're so far off. Well, but we're talking about season 11, so I think that's an okay tangent to go on.
True.
Because that happens before season 12.
Fair.
And I just wanted to establish, first and foremost, that season 11 was mostly bullshit. She tortures him, he has the visions, they find him, they save him, we're introduced to the Enochian brass knuckles, which I thought were pretty cool.
Insert Justin making a great point.
Here.
Right there.
This whole time Mary's kind of out of sorts, which I thought was really cool. These first 4 or 5 episodes I thought were really good.
Introducing her back into,
Yeah.
like, their world. Yeah, I guess what I liked about the first 3 is it was back to that, like, I mean, I guess maybe they did this in the ones before, but that whole, like, Monster of the Week setup, but now they've got, like, Mom tagging along, too.
Well, and it's family style. So, like, back to season 1 and 2, you know, season 1, they're looking for their dad, so it's based on the family. And then in season 2, I think they've already found their dad, and now they're kind of working cases with him. And so now we're back to they're working cases with
Mommy Dearest.
With Mommy Dearest, yeah, which is cool. And you mentioned she's looking over John's journal, which is really sweet, and she's like trying to acclimate herself to this new way that things are done with the internet instead of like she mentions like let's go knock on some doors, let's talk to the neighborhood, you know. They're clacking away on the computers, and she's like, "What are we doing?"
Right.
And he's like, "Oh, I hacked into the thing." She's like, "Oh, you can do that now?"
She a poor girl.
But even like episode 3, where they're going to the ghost house, and it's the 3 of them, and we're starting to realize that not only is she not used to this new world and how things are done, but there might be something like mentally and physically or spiritually wrong with her being yanked out of heaven like that.
I was thinking about that because of Buffy. You know, Buffy comes back and she's just like this shell of a person because she's been taken from heaven and all the like good things in the world, and it's just like, well, Mary's been there for 30-ish years, right? Or 20-ish years, because they're in their 30s. So, like, 20 years, Mary's been kicking it in heaven and, like, you know, doing her own thing, and now she's back on Earth, and she's, like, in a world still filled with monsters and still filled with, like, bad memories and no husband, and her kids are grown up. It's like, yeah, she's probably miserable.
She's hanging out with her sons that she doesn't recognize.
Right.
And that she doesn't know. And she even says, in heaven, I was with my husband, I was with my baby boy, I was with my infant son, and I was happy.
Yeah.
You know, and now she's here, back where everything sucks, and it's like with 2 grown men who she doesn't recognize.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, Amara did it for them, but it's kind of cruel to do that to Mary. When she talked about that, I thought, oh man, I think this is going to be a different season of Supernatural, because it had such a strong start. You know, and they're doing the house thing, and Mary shows that, you know, maybe she does know a little bit better than the boys. And then the next one with the Child Protective Services and the Wiccan and the psychic chick in the basement.
That was a great episode.
That was a great episode. So episode 4, I'm like, holy shit. I was like, because, you know, even like, I'm trying to remember back to season 1 of it, or episode 1 of season 11, and it's like, yeah, I think that was an okay episode. Like, the first few episodes of a season are usually pretty okay.
Mm-hmm.
But these first 4 were really good, and I was like, holy shit, I'm enjoying this. I'm psyched for this season right now. And then episode 5 comes along, and it's like, it's even titled, The One You've Been Waiting For. And I was like, ooh boy. I was like, yes. And then,
you didn't learn your lesson after Swan Song wasn't the last episode. Those are very misleading titles. Very misleading.
You're right. The One You've Been Waiting For. And then it's this episode about Hitler.
Yeah, oh, right.
And Hitler being reincarnated. And I was like, okay, it's actually not the worst thing in the world. I was like, because it gave me a sense that there's a lot of things happening in this season.
Right.
And, you know, you've got the British men of letters who are around and they want to be friends, which is great because the Winchesters seem to be able to keep their friends around. You've got the thing going on with Mary, and you've got now the Hitler thing, which I thought was going to keep being a recurring storyline.
Is it? That's a sequel.
They've done a Hitler episode before?
I think so.
They must have, but I don't remember it.
I don't
It must
either.
be from 8, 9, or 10.
Okay.
Because
I feel like that's a continuation because they make it sound like they've met them before. And
Yeah.
it was total, like, Hydra bullshit of, like, you cut off one head and we come back, and that was a terrible accent, but you get it. Like,
well, it's like, but it's such a cool, like, revisionist history thing where it's like, well, some of the higher up Nazi officers were necromancers. And they were able to prolong their lives. And I'm like, that's kind of cool. I don't like Chuck being God. But I do like the idea of necromancy Nazis. Nazi
because
necromancers.
who doesn't?
We have Hitler's soul in this pocket watch, and we need someone that's a descendant of Hitler, has his blood, and we're going to bring Hitler
You can't even say it without laughing.
back.
Can't even say it without laughing at it.
If you say we're going to bring Hitler back, you have to bring Hitler back.
Right.
I thought that guy did a great job.
I mean, no, he's a good Hitler. I have never seen a, like, poorly cast Hitler. To be fair, everybody that I've ever seen play Hitler.
I think
actually
the
does a
real
good job.
one was poorly cast. But,
We totally should have known it was going to go a little downhill from here. Because I had such a problem with the last episode.
with episode 4?
Only because it's the most unbelievable ending in TV because there would not be one woman in that bathroom. Like, just one person. I was livid when I watched that. That's so
It's
stupid,
a
but I
rest
was
area too. Like it's
off
on the
of
highway.
a bus. So they've been on that bus for who knows how long.
Right.
If you've ever taken the megabus, you know you don't want to use the bus on or the bathroom on there. You want to use the bathroom at that little stop that they make like halfway through the trip. There was no way one person would have been in that bathroom.
Right.
Magda, you should have been saved. I'm so sorry.
And I liked her character, and she got like a cool little redemption arc in her episode. Such a tragic character, and I did not like the ending of that episode.
Yeah.
Where it's like they literally, I mean, because the next episode, they literally killed my hopes for her right there at the end. Because it's like, why not have her come back? You know, it's like, why? I don't understand why the British men of letters are not more like the paper company in Heroes, where they're trying to recruit monsters too.
I think when the show started out, Dean was kind of like them. He was very by the book and like, it's a monster, you kill it, the end. And then Sam comes in and kind of like gives them that human side and shows them that like there's always like a story on the other side. And I feel like the British coming in, they kind of picked up where Dean used to be. So they are now the by the book, everything has to die, like that is the only way to get to a world without evil, without monsters, without this, that, and the other, is just to eliminate every threat. So I feel like, and as the British do, being super polite with their cup of tea as they're like shooting a monster, I thought it was fitting that they took her out just to show how ruthless. I mean, she's a child. She had a super, like you said, she had a super sad backstory. You sympathized with her. We saw how she was the victim, and then we still saw this guy come in and be like, nope, sorry. It just shows how ruthless they are.
Episode 5, I thought was cool. Because the whole Hitler thing, because I thought, oh, we're not going for just one bad guy this season. We're going to be doing a lot of things this season.
Right.
Which I thought was cool. And then in episode 6, we're celebrating the life of Asa Fox. So this hunter has died, there's a big hunter reunion. to celebrate his life or whatever, and I thought that was fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Because now we're introduced to, I mean, anytime they introduce us to other hunters, it's always cool.
Yeah.
But they introduced us to probably the coolest hunters ever.
I'm so excited.
Which
about
are...
that. Please say the twins.
Yes!
I love the twins.
The twins!
I love them so much.
When Sam is sitting with them, and he's like, so you were raised by a witch, but you're hunters. And they're like, yeah, that is fucking dope as shit, and now I want to spin off with these two. I don't know, what else do you think about that episode in particular?
So what I liked, because they were starting to set up the like Men of Letters thing, because I personally, if they were going to be in the season, I'm glad that the Men of Letters, the British Men of Letters, were villains. I actually thought that we could have done without them the whole season, personally. Like, I didn't need that storyline. But if they're gonna be there, it was nice to have this, like... There's this thing that happens in movies and TV where there's, like, a British group of something and an American group of something. It's like the cowboys versus the polite British folk.
Well, we've got the Kingsmen and the Statesmen.
Yes, yeah, that's actually what I was just thinking. And it's always, like... I didn't see that movie, but most of the time, the Americans are, like... stupid and ridiculous and just like you don't side with them. You always side with the British. They're way cooler.
And I'm tired of that propaganda, by the way.
I am too. I didn't like. It was so nice to see the American hunters finally come back and kind of getting back to what was really cool about the first 5 seasons is you saw this community and you saw how they were very human and very like tortured and you know like.
And they're telling stories about each other.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, oh, remember when he took down those 5 Wendigos?
It was so sweet. It was so nice to, like, juxtapose them with what the British Men of Letters became.
Well, and to see that one hunter geek out about, he's like, you're Sam? Sam
Meeting
Winchester?
them? Yeah,
And he's, like, geeking out, and he's like, oh my gosh. He's like, I heard you died 4 times. And Dean just goes, it didn't take.
Yeah, it's so
like,
good.
Oh, that's so great. And then they go up to Asa's room and they see an angel blade that's in a case for some reason. I don't know why he didn't have it in a duffel bag to use, but I guess it was for display purposes only. But he's like, wow, this guy was legit. He's got an angel blade and everything. Real quick, every fucking hunter in season 5 seems to have an angel blade. What
Do
the
they?
hell? What the? I feel like I saw a lot of goddamn angel blades all over the place.
That is fair. They're starting to become the norm, so now I'm not as like...
So they're not as special anymore.
Yeah, that's true.
The life of Asa Fox, like the demon possessing them, and then like them trying to figure out who the demon has possessed and who he hasn't. But, correct me if I'm wrong.
Do tell.
Let's get closer here. Dude, Sam and Dean, they have like that nifty tattoo that keeps them from being able to be possessed, right?
Yeah, I had to look that up, what the tattoos meant.
Right.
They didn't get possessed, did they?
No, they didn't. But why weren't they like, we need to draw this symbol on everyone right now so no one can be possessed? Or why hasn't every hunter been like, why are they not telling all the other hunters, you need to get this tattoo so that you also cannot be possessed?
Because the hunters literally like fell off the map for seasons. We don't see like groups of hunters for so long. And yeah, if they had still been like a consistent storyline, they probably would have. They probably would have been like, hey, here's the monthly newsletter. Get this tattoo because it's gonna save your life.
I like that the demon revealed a lot of their secrets right there in the room, but I don't know if I like the reveal of the one hunter, I can't remember his name, Bucky, that he's the one that killed Asa.
Yeah, that could have been, that was kind of a whatever.
It could have just been the demon.
Yeah.
Because, like, why do we need to have us all turn on another hunter?
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like, we need all the hunters we can get.
Yeah. I did like the reveal that Asa is the twins' father. That was kind of cool. Very sweet since they're clearly looking for family the same way Sam and Dean are looking for family. That was a nice, like, you know, callback moment. And I also really liked seeing Mary and the sheriff, Jody, like meet for the first time. Because it's like their actual mother and their like temporary mother or whatever she wants to be called, maternal figure, I guess, meeting. And then, you know, the longest conversation they have, I think, in the episode is when Jody's possessed. And it's like, I thought that was really cool.
Yeah. It was bullshit, though, that the demon didn't snap Jody's neck like it did the other person.
Because Jody's important.
Exactly.
We need her.
Because Jody, big supporting character now. And it's like, yeah, we're not going to kill Jody. And it's like, okay, but you already set up that the demon's like really quick to snap people's necks.
Yeah.
So it's like, now he's not going to do that? Okay, cool. Sounds good. Consistent. But like also, I'm trying to look up what the demon's name was. JL. Okay. So
Do you not like the name?
the demon's name is JL, and when they said the name on the episode, I thought it was literally the letters J
JL.
and L. I was like, that's a dumbass name for a demon. Like, we couldn't think of anything else. But now looking up the spelling, it's spelled Jael.
Yeah.
So JL.
Which I thought, like, Jael sounds a little bit more like...
Gile? Like Giles?
Shit, no. I was thinking, like, literally how it's spelled. Jael. Like, would it
Jael.
sound more like an angel-y name?
Like Kal-El.
Oh, fuck, yeah.
Jael.
Yeah. So, never mind. Superman.
Just a different name.
Just, yeah.
Come on, really? And even if they can point me to, like, well, this is an actual demon's name from this lore and
Right.
everything else, like, yeah, it doesn't change the fact some old names are dumb.
You need to watch season 13. If you're mad about names, man.
God. Episode 7, Rock Never Dies. Another episode that I thought was okay because we see this rock star, Vicente. I mean, I guess they
Vince
couldn't...
Vicente.
guess they had to give him a very confusing name that is hard for people to say. I imagine there's a lot of takes of
sure.
trying to get this fucking character's name right. He gets possessed in this episode, and this is where the season started to fall apart for me. At the beginning of the episode, he gets possessed by something. We're not sure what it is, but his eyes turn red. And I'm like, oh shit, this is yet another force, another bad guy in the season. This is gonna be cool. And demons are kind of like blasé these days in Supernatural,
Right.
because they don't seem very smart.
They're like
don't-
stormtroopers.
They're like they are like
They're
stormtroopers.
legitimately stormtroopers.
When demons first showed up, it's like, oh shit, a fucking demon. Alistair. Okay, Alistair. That's a demon name.
Yeah.
Alistair.
Yeah, you're
Get
right.
the hell out of here. Look, Azazel. That's a great. Crowley is a great demon name. Even Ruby. Meg Masters. Terrible demon name. That's a human name.
Complete sidebar. My favorite insult of the entire show was this season from Crowley.
God, I think I know what you're gonna say.
And it was like the perfect way to sum up the brothers. And I wrote it down because I liked it so much. Big, beautiful, lumbering piles of flannel.
And they say to him one time, they're like, are you ever going to do anything for us for free? He's like, are you ever gonna not be wearing flannel? No? No. So Rock never dies. So his eyes are glowing red, which is fine. I thought it was gonna be a new big bad, but it wasn't.
Nope.
It was Lucifer. Lucifer again?
I mean,
They're bringing Lucifer back again.
they did set that up in season 11, though, didn't they? Because I'm pretty sure
Yeah, Lucifer.
they show him possess Castiel for like a hot minute.
Yeah, in season 11, he had possessed Castiel for like a good half of the season.
Oh, not a hot minute.
And he like tried to take over heaven again. It was like Chuck, Lucifer,
Oh, Rowena.
Rowena, Sam and Dean versus Amara. And they still couldn't do it.
Mhm.
And it was one of the most like lackluster finale fights you ever seen in your goddamn life. But it's like Lucifer in Castiel's body, which is a problem. Anytime Lucifer is not in Mark Pellegrino's body, it's an issue.
It is an issue.
Because no one else is able to pull off what Mark has created for that character.
Yeah.
They keep bringing him back, and I hate it because it's like, yes, Lucifer was great. He was good. We love every time we see Mark Pellegrino. I fucking love it. Every single time. I'll always watch Mark Pellegrino in anything. But they need to just stop bringing him back.
The big bad to end all big bads is Lucifer, in my mind, because he was the original storyline. We had 5 years of working up to fighting him, and I didn't think he was just gonna go down that easily. But ever since, like, I want them to just end with him. If they're gonna end, I want it to be with Lucifer, because nobody's gonna be a better villain. I'm sorry, like the Leviathans, Crowley, a witch who births Crowley, like all of that is not as big of a like impact on their life as Lucifer was.
Right.
You know?
I hope they don't bring him back until they know this is going to be the final season.
Yeah.
Like, if they knew this is going to be the final season, and they're like, yeah, we're bringing back Lucifer, I'd be like, alright, that
Right.
sounds like the right thing to do to me. The more we see him, the less impact he has.
Right.
If at the end of season 5, he gets locked back in the cage, which turned out in season 11 to be a literal cage.
What did you think it was gonna be?
I thought the cage was slang for alternate dimension, where, like hell,
Yeah.
You know, it's like, he can be in hell. Why can't he just be in hell, you know?
Because he rules hell.
When I was raised Baptist...
You say when I was in hell.
When I was in hell... When I first heard about the devil, I was like, okay, so God, like, sentenced him to hell, which is a separate dimension or, you know, plane of existence from heaven or earth, but he just has to hang out down there. And the reason that he's sending demons up here is because he can't come up here himself. You know what I mean?
Sure.
But instead, it's like, no, he's not in hell, he's in the cage. Where's the cage? I just assumed it was a different dimension. I mean, when they locked him away, a hole opened up.
An actual cage.
An actual cage. Dagon shows up, and it's like, yeah, she was okay casting, I thought. And Dagon is a okay demon name too.
I kept thinking of Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
I just kept thinking Aegon. Drogon, Aegon,
Dagon,
Targaryen.
Hey, Dagon Targaryen. There you go.
Literally the dragon and Aegon.
Yeah.
Just mushed into one.
They fused.
Yeah.
Like in Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, just like that.
Yeah. Fusion.
Sure.
Oh shit, you don't know how to do it.
I know.
God damn it. I thought it'd be a cute like little moment.
Oh, I'm
and then
sorry.
It wasn't.
I'm sorry.
So
I like Trunks.
That's fine. Moving on to episode 8. Lotus. I thought it was pretty cool.
Yeah.
I mean, so now Lucifer has gotten the idea that he's going to possess noteworthy people.
Yeah.
Which is pretty cool. And what I thought he was going to do, because it looks like he had possessed a rich dude and then made a huge donation in that dude's name to the church, and then he went and possessed the Pope or the minister, the
I don't know,
cardinal of that church. And I thought he was like, okay, now I'm going to take this money and I'm going to keep transferring all this money until I possess someone that has a shit ton of money, which I thought was cool. But then instead, he possesses...
Goes for the big guy.
The President of the United States.
I kind of feel like I saw that coming. I feel like a lot of people probably did.
I don't think I did.
No?
I thought that possessing the President was smart. I thought that him revealing that he and the staffer had a little fling going was pretty interesting.
Because it was the beginning of the end. For this season, at least.
Yes.
You know?
Yes. This is where, for me, it stopped being a good season. And like started going back to the norm of like what I expect from Supernatural. Now, the Supernatural fan deep inside of me really enjoyed going back and watching a season of Supernatural.
Yeah.
And just sitting back and watching the Winchesters do their thing. Every other part of me was like, Jesus Christ, this schlock. And then they revealed that like, oh, she's pregnant. There's been a chasm in the force, you know, the angel force or something. I've sensed a disturbance. And it's like, oh, this is what the season's going to be about.
Of course.
It took until episode 8, but we finally figured out what the season's going to be about. What'd you think about him knocking up the girl? Like that working?
So, I don't know. It just felt like, in its own way, predictable. Like, I kind of felt like that was what was going to happen when we realized they're sleeping together. And then, like, in the very next episode, it's where they talk about Niflheim? Is that what it is?
Nephilim.
Nephilim.
Niflheim is a plane in Asgard.
It's also a city in Final Fantasy.
Oh, there you go. So
I think that's probably what it's
still not it, though.
Not at all.
Nephilim, which I don't know if
Nephilim.
if a Nephilim is an actual... It is an actual thing. Okay, cool. We're the offsprings of the sons of God and the daughters of men
There you
before
go.
the deluge, according to Genesis 6, 1-4 of the Bible. Have you heard of it?
Nope.
Oh, well, shit.
And I can't remember what movie kind of made me make that connection. I was thinking, whatever it was, I was like recalling it while I was watching this episode. And then to have that next episode be about an angel baby, potentially, and how that's so dangerous and this, that, and the other. I was like, oh, of course they're setting up the, Lucifer's spawn.
So they're setting up the Lucifer spawn, and they're talking about, well, this Nephilim could be the end of creation as we know it. It's like, yeah, but that's what you guys said about the Antichrist.
Oh, yeah.
Because the Antichrist exists because they let him live, and he's probably, at this point, I think he was 5 or 6 at the time, so he's probably like 12 by now, if we're saying that each season of Supernatural is like a year. Because I think he came up in season 4, because Castiel was definitely there for the Antichrist. He was either in season 4 or 5, so yeah, now he would be like 13. He'd be like a teenager.
Yeah. Why don't I remember that?
I don't
Must
know.
not have been that
It was
important.
kind of a filler episode.
Oh, okay.
It wasn't the point of the season. It was because I think they thought season 5 was going to be the end. It was like the Antichrist was just the spawn of a demon and some human woman, and it was a big deal for that episode. And remember, because the Antichrist is so strong, he could turn Castiel into an action figure.
I don't remember that.
Oh shit!
Well, clearly it wasn't that important to what was.
No, and he's never come back.
Well,
it's like, if you want Lucifer to come back, why not have the Antichrist come back this season?
Right.
It's like it's already established in the world.
Yeah.
But just like you, they probably forgot about that shit.
Yeah.
And now they're talking about the Nephilim, who they describe. If I'm getting my, if I'm remembering correctly, it's the exact same way they describe this Antichrist being born and even existing and having all this
real.
power. Which I'm like, I understand you want to keep taking lore from the Bible and other religions and stuff to make bigger bad guys, and that's fine. It's like, but you already have the Antichrist
Right.
being born.
Why not just use him as like your main? Yeah.
Right.
Right.
And it's like,
Right.
and when Castiel was like, we need something to defeat Amara, would the Antichrist do it? Because he's here. He's around. So First Blood, that's the one where they get arrested by the military.
Oh, I remember my issue with that. So one of my favorite episodes, maybe in season 2 or season 3, is the one where they get arrested and they get out by pulling some like major heist, and then they get in the car and they take off their masks and Renegade by Styx plays. You know what episode I'm talking about?
I think so.
I loved that episode, and I loved the ending, how somber they looked with that song playing in the background, and like, I loved that episode, clearly, because I remember everything in it. And then this was just like a rehash of that, to me, with a Deus Ex Machina, is that how you say it? With Billy. And then,
Now
I
we're talking about Billy.
know, you hate Billy.
Now we're talking
Here's
about
my issue, because I didn't know who Billy was, obviously.
Yeah.
Now I know who she is. They make this claim about how like cosmic consequences are gonna happen if Castiel, after what Castiel did.
Yes.
And then what happened?
I guess the Nephilim was born, I guess.
Is that really the connection because he killed Billy?
I don't know.
Like, I was just waiting for that to be like what
Right.
the season finale
Came
was
back
about.
to bite him in the ass.
And nothing. Nobody cares about Billy. I mean, I'm sure if you're a fan, good job. But like nobody in that universe apparently cares that Billy's dead.
I don't like the actress that plays Billy. And I feel like in this season, and I'm gonna tread as lightly as I possibly can.
Do tell.
I feel like in this season, we're trying to be very woke, very progressive, social justice warriors, trying to get more diverse with our casting and our portrayal of people, which is great, which is fine. There's definitely a wrong way to do that, though. And I think Billy was one of those things. Because, like, you want to have a black actress portray a Reaper? That's fine. I don't give a fuck what a Reaper looks like. They're a Reaper. I assume they can take whatever form they want, Just like Death. Just like God should be able to do. Or a shapeshifter. But the actress they cast as Billy, she's always so smug, but she never has the upper hand. It's the same problem I have with Misty Knight and Luke Cage. It's like, and that's fine, but it's like, Billy always like, Sam Winchester, I'm all about the rules. And I'm like, who are you showing off for right now?
Yeah.
It's like, you just are a Reaper. You have power. You don't have to be so, You know who has to insecure people have to do that.
Jesus.
Why are you insecure? You're a fucking Reaper. Own that shit. You know what I mean? And that sounds terrible to say. It feels terrible to say, but it's like, and honestly, she bothered me in season 11, and she bothered me in this season too. She always seems to talk too slow, and if you, I don't know, just everything about this actress rubs me the wrong way.
I think just Billy, the character, was just written poorly. I think
And
they were
that too.
trying to
Yeah.
like, her sole purpose obviously was to build up to this moment to get the Winchesters out of jail, because there was no other way they were going to get out of this bunker
Right.
or whatever. It is what it seems like. It doesn't seem like she did anything else, and from what I can tell, just like rereading about season 11, she wasn't anything that I should be too concerned about, I
Right.
guess. And the reason I thought she was like death number 2, so I thought she was just like
Got
taking
it.
up his reins and she was
Got
going
it.
to do a better job
Yeah.
or whatever, and didn't. So I just feel like I think you're right. They are trying to be a more like diverse cast,
Right.
And oh my god, they like ran into this century in this season with like
Yes,
the
they
Tinder
did.
swiping and the hipsters walking down the street
Yes, they
and
did.
the haunted house one. Like, we get it. You joined this century. Good job. It was great with Mary to see them on the computers and this, that, and the other, and like making, and with like Vince's return, they're making like a comment on how, you know,
Social media
everybody's
works.
so into social media
Yeah.
and all into this, that, and the other, and then they're kind of doing it. Like, that was my issue. It was a little hypocritical in some places where it's like, okay, you realize that you're doing what you're like making fun of and like
Right.
making a comment about. I thought that was bizarre.
Well, and another example of like this big diversity push being bad is the introduction of the Slayer, or I keep saying Hunter, of Leanne, I think her name is, the deaf hunter.
Something with an L.
Something with an L. It's Leanne, or I'll put it right here, the actual Leah or Leanne.
Real name.
But when she was running away from the Hellhound in the woods, I'm like, a deaf person, number one, can do anything a hearing person can do, for the most part. One thing I don't think they would be good at is being a
Running from
hunter.
growling. Oh, I was just
Because
running
it's
from
like,
something
how many
growling.
times have Dean and Sam been tipped off by something they heard? And, you know,
True.
in the next room, it's like, oh, you know what I mean? It's like, if you can't hear, how does she even know a hellhound is chasing her unless it's already
Yeah.
attacked her?
Right.
You know, and she wasn't wearing the glasses that let you see like the outline of a hellhound.
I mean, we catch it like mid-chase, so my guess is it probably did attack her and then she took off, but then she wouldn't know where to run because it's growling after her.
Right,
So
exactly.
she would probably run like, you know,
She could
right
run
into
like
it.
right into it. So I had a problem with that kind of. And then when we first saw her on the Skype call with Sam, I thought, oh, she's a librarian, she's a lore person or something like that. I was like, that's cool that she's deaf. They're not making a big deal out of it, whatever. But then when they revealed that she was a hunter, I was like, wait a minute. And not only a hunter, but a solo hunter.
Oh, right. Yeah.
What? If you told me like she was hunting with her husband, I'd be like, or you know, boyfriend or
Right.
sister, best friend, whatever. I'd be like, oh, okay, cool. But it's like, how? It's like a blind person also would
Right.
not be able to do it.
Well,
And
they
you-
watched the movie Hush. That's what happened. They watched that horror movie and they're like,
I don't know. It just bothered me. And it's like, if she does want to be a hunter, she totally could be. Because guess what? There's magic and angels that can heal your hearing. I'm probably the only one that thinks about these things. And that's why
No,
it
I'm
bothered
sure
me.
somebody cute internet troll.
I'm sure we're gonna get a bunch of comments like "fuck Justin." He's the only one that hates deaf people.
Also, it's not Niflheim in Final Fantasy. You have to take that part out. It's Niflheim. And that's from Final Fantasy VII, and it's where Cloud is from, and I can't believe I said the wrong city. I was thinking about that in the background that entire break.
So I'm gonna keep it, and I'm gonna put that part in there.
No!
So what we just learned here, ladies and gentlemen, is that Katie Kennedy does not know her Final Fantasy lore.
I do.
She doesn't play Final
It's
Fantasy. She doesn't know what it is.
so
All right,
silly.
so the next episode, Lily Sunder has some regrets. Episode 10. Really quick, I thought it was all right.
Yeah, it was
What?
a good, like, filler. Not filler, but, like, setting up for what a
Or at least
Niflheim.
Niflheim.
Thank you.
No, Nephilim.
No.
Nephilim.
A thing.
We're gonna butcher this.
Demon baby, whatever.
Angel baby.
Damn it.
But Isham, I thought, you know, it's a decent angel name, and they cast a decent actor for once.
I like that he's, like,
An
older,
angel.
too. He's, like, an
He's an
older
older
dude.
angel,
like,
yeah.
I thought he was cool.
Absolutely. My favorite part, and this is always my favorite part of Supernatural, was Lily. I thought she was awesome.
Yeah.
With her eye patch and her Enochian spells that she's casting.
Look at you.
And she's like, and and when she explains it to Sam, it's like, it was awesome. He's like, what, you're a witch? And she's like, no, I'm not a witch. I use Enochian spells, and every time I use one, it burns a part of my soul.
Right.
What
Right.
the fuck?
Yeah.
It burns a part of her soul, and so if she were to use enough Enochian magic, which is angel magic, I'm sure anybody watching this already knows, she'll be soulless.
Yeah.
Like Sam was in season 6. And Sam and her are able to have this moment of understanding, and that's awesome. And I thought that was tragic of her. It kind of pissed me off though about Sam and Dean again. It's like they know about so much magic. It's like, but they never seem to want to give themselves power-ups.
Right.
But Lily was fucking badass,
She
and
was
what
cool.
a great way to take that angel magic and make it her own. And the whole episode was, pretty cool.
Yeah. Was it one that we absolutely needed? No. It sets
No.
up the angel baby.
It sets
whatever,
up how everyone views it of being dangerous. You know what I mean? And that's mostly what it is, because we don't see Lily again, even though she's kind of badass.
Yeah.
So, I guess, fuck it. So next up, episode 11 is regarding Dean. This is the one where he gets hit by that magic spell
Starts forgetting, right?
that he starts forgetting stuff. Another filler episode. I thought it was alright.
I can't even remember what brings him back.
They're watching the security footage from the back of the bar, and Dean sees himself shooting a guy, but he doesn't remember it because it's a memory loss spell. And he's watching, he's like, "Oh, that's me." And he's like, "Yeah, Dean, that's you." He goes, "Oh, great. It's like watching myself on Netflix." I was watching Supernatural on Netflix. I assume that the writers know that Netflix is going to want to buy the next season.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck off. But we are introduced to the druidic magic book, the Black Grimoire, which is when I started to have this thought of, yeah, they're collecting all these magical items, but they don't use many of them.
Yeah.
It's like the Black Grimoire. It's great. Apparently it's the most powerful druidic spell book in the world, and Rowena really wants it. And Sam's like, not gonna happen. And they put it in their trunk, and I'm like, are they ever gonna use that? It's like, how many things, and I've probably forgotten some things that are in that trunk.
Oh, yeah.
That's like, are they gonna use that? Somehow a grenade launcher got in there.
Those are just like bargaining chips, I think. Things that they throw back there.
Oh, this is the one you're talking about. Stuck in the Middle with You. Next episode, episode 12.
Yeah, that's the one, the super Tarantino-y one, where we see different like timelines, or we see different perspectives for the same.
Oh, this is the midpoint of the season.
Yeah.
That is correct. I thought this one was okay. I just don't like Ramiel.
Yeah.
Ramiel is him. So Ramiel is the Prince of Hell that we're introduced to, but I have a problem with this because they've now created this hierarchy of demons that is hard to comprehend. So you've got demons, right? And then at the top you've got Lucifer, who is not a demon. So apparently the most powerful demons, who are supposed to be the first demons, like Cain, are the princes of hell. But you also have what Abaddon was, which is a knight of hell. And when Cain tells the story of him becoming the first demon, which is excellent, he talks about training the knights of hell. Which made me assume that it's like, okay, cool, we've got Lucifer, in terms of power level, Lucifer, Cain, Knights of Hell, Crossroad Demons. But now we have Princes of Hell.
Right.
Where do they fit? What is going on?
I don't know. I'm like exhausted thinking about that.
Exactly. It's like when I had to pause the episode. I'm like, a Prince of Hell? What?
And there's 4 of them. It was
fuck?
Azazel, Dagon, Ramiel, and then
Asmodeus.
Yeah.
Crowley gives Ramiel 2 items, and we're only introduced to the first one, which is the Spear of Michael. Which is weird, because I thought it was going to be the Spear of Destiny. Alright, well, the Spear of Destiny is what became of the spear that they stabbed Jesus with when he was on the cross to make sure that he was actually dead. And so it being bathed in his blood or whatever, it imbued it with power that is whatever. So I thought that that's what he was giving him, because that would be a monumental thing to be like, holy shit. And that's what I thought. I was like, oh shit, he's giving him the Spear of Destiny. That's why it's fucking with Castiel so much, And I thought that's what it was. Like, oh no, it's the Spear of Michael. It's like, okay, cool, there's 2 spears. That's fine. Sure. And he's like, it kills the bad things fast, kills the good things slow. Lucifer brags to Sam and Dean that there's no way that they can kill him, because the Colts can't do it, and an Angel Blade can't do it. I'm like, yeah, but surely that spear could have done it, because why else would Michael be using it if it couldn't kill Lucifer? So why didn't we hang on to it instead of breaking it?
Who broke a Crowley?
Yeah.
Crowley breaks it.
What
Maybe
the
that's
fuck?
why he did it. Maybe Crowley.
It's also, it's like, and even if it is the Spear of Michael, it's this monumental piece of lore
right,
and an artifact. And as the writers, we're just gonna Get rid of it just like that?
I mean, my only guess is that Crowley does it because he even says he doesn't want Lucifer dead. He wants him, like, on a chain to keep forever.
Which
So
is
he
also
gets rid
stupid.
of, like...
We're gonna get to that in a second.
he gets rid of the one weapon that could, like, do some damage. Who knows? But you were right. It's, like, it's ridiculous to introduce something like that and then be like, take it off the board.
In the same fucking episode.
Right.
And then Mary reveals what she stole from Ramiel in his safe. And in his safe, he had...
the ultimate of Deus Ex Machina.
the Colt.
The fucking Colt.
The Colt. When she and I didn't even know that the Winchesters didn't have the Colt.
I didn't either. I thought they still had it.
Which is fine, because they're always losing that piece of shit. Which, I say piece of shit, but the Colt is one of my favorite fucking things in the show, because it's so goddamn cool that Samuel Colt made this gun that can kill almost anything.
Yeah.
And there are many debates online about what the other 4 things are that it can't kill. And
That's what I was asking you about the text message you sent me.
Uh-huh.
And you were like, you said it can't kill 5 things, Lucifer being
that's
one
what
of them.
Lucifer said, yeah.
They say that earlier on in the show?
They said it's season 5.
I didn't even remember that until they brought
When
it
they
up in this
shoot,
season.
because their whole plan was to shoot Lucifer with the Colt.
Right.
So
I
they
remember
shoot
saying
him
it could
with
kill
it,
him.
and it doesn't work, and they think it works, and it's a great fake out. And he gets up, and they're like, "Oh shit!" And he's like, "It's a good try." Like, there's 5 things in creation that gun can't kill.
Well, I'm assuming God's probably
And
one of
Amara.
them. Amara.
God and Amara are not part of creation.
Oh.
Oh, that's what makes it a fun debate, because there's all this like wordplay associated with it. All right, so this is where we start to get into a lot of filler territory. Family Feud being the less fillery, I think. No, I consider it all to be filler. This is where we learn that Lucifer has been trapped in his old vessel, and Crowley and him start to have what you were talking about is the same old scenes.
Back and forth. I win. No, you win. No, I win.
Yeah, you're my dog. No, you're my slave. No, you're lick the floor now. It's like, who?
If you're gonna do a slow burn, if you're gonna do a slow burn, do it right. And I get that that's what they were trying to do with the lead up to Lucifer, like breaking out. Spoiler alert! But like, do it right. Do the slow burn right. That's all I ask.
All I saw in all those scenes are 2 good actors being forced to work with this poor material.
Yeah.
Next, we have the raid where the alpha vampire says, "Hey, all you vampires," because they're trying to eradicate. The Men of Letters want to eradicate all the, vampires in America. He's like, "Hey, let's hunt the hunters instead of them hunting us." I'm like, "Yeah, that's actually pretty cool."
The only thing we get out of it is that Sam has a secret from Dean. The last 1 episode. Thank you, Supernatural, for not carrying that out for 5 episodes.
Right. Somewhere
Much
between heaven and hell. That's complete filler. It's more of those scenes them talking to each other, them talking about Lucifer's vessel being a cage and all that shit. Next, Ladies Drink Free. That's werewolves and Claire. Anytime you see her face, you know it's going to be a filler episode. The British Invasion, episode 17, where we see the Kendrick Academy, where they train the British Men of Letters.
Oh, right.
Like, I thought this was a magic school for wizards, and I was like, are we going to do a Hogwarts episode? Because I could be down for that, I think.
Oh, and Mary's
She's
getting some with the British guy.
She is getting some.
Mary.
She's like, one thing they don't have in heaven? Sex. This is where Lucifer is like, ooh, I'll put on an act. I'm going to act like I'm agreeing with Crowley and go along with his plan. But here's the thing. We're on episode 17. It's done at 23. We're already getting close to the end. It's like, we don't have time to be going in circles like this.
Yeah.
But they keep going through all this filler. The memory remains. This is where we have the...
it's the goat episode.
The goat episode. It's
God.
like, this is episode 18, and we got another filler episode of this fucking goat. Pass.
Yeah.
Pass. Get it out of here.
Skip.
Skip. So the future is the episode where, at the end, they catch up with Dagon and Kelly, and this is where we meet Joshua, because they're going to take him through the gate of heaven, which Kelly won't be able to survive.
Right.
And they're hoping that will abort baby Lucifer. I don't think it would have worked, even if they had done it, but the baby shows Kelly a vision of the future. And she sees that the baby's going to be good. It's not going to be evil.
Well, it saves her life.
It saves her life.
Because she
That's
tries to
right.
commit
From
suicide.
trying to kill herself. Right.
Which was that was some dark shit. I was really uncomfortable watching that.
The only way it could have been darker is if we had actually seen the cuts.
That's true. She just looked so uncomfortable and so I've never been that uncomfortable watching the show. And I was like, holy fuck.
Castiel holds her hand, and the baby sends him a vision of the future, and now he believes that the baby is good.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, at no point did Castiel think, what if the baby's lying to us?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Another thing that happens in that episode is very interesting. Dagon, coming back to Dagon, when she confronts them at the heaven gate, she doesn't just incinerate Castiel like she does the other angels. Instead, she bats him to the side.
Right.
I'm like, why the change of heart, Dagon? Do you know that he's essential to the plot? And this franchise? That you're not gonna, zap him right away?
He's above her pay grade.
I guess so. I guess so.
Goddamn.
And then, Castiel gets a big power boost and he's able to incinerate her instead. And says that the baby gave him a vision.
And, just randomly, if the baby is so good, or potentially could be good or whatever, why does it burn the Bible when Kelly touches it?
Yeah. That's
you know
a good
what I
point.
mean?
That's
It's
another really good point. I didn't think about that.
I don't. That to me, that's like straight up exorcist shit.
If
right there.
if you're something that can't touch the Bible,
How good can you be?
you might be an evil being.
I hope there's a character that's a demon doing that stand-up routine somewhere. Stupid.
If you think that stealing candy from a baby is wrong, you might be an angel. You know what they're doing? You might be an angel joke.
Stupid.
That's great. I like to think about that. The improv in hell. So next up, episode 20 is also a filler episode.
But it's
a good one because it has the twins in it. I thought their mom was dead. I didn't know she was still alive.
She is dead.
Well, she's dead now. This episode I thought was great because, what's his name? Max, I thought, got the best character development out of anyone in the show this entire season.
So good, yeah.
And at the end of wanting his sister back and having to sell his soul to whatever demon is in control of that ring,
Yeah.
and carving out his own sister's heart.
How Winchester-y is he right there?
Yeah, I know.
He's doing exactly what one of them would have done.
Which is why they deserve their own spin-off now.
Yeah.
And it's
You're
and when they start the spin-off, they need to make it very vague of whether we're dealing with the real sister or the Wicker-ster. Wickster. The Wickster.
I like
there
that.
you go.
That's good.
The
Yeah,
Wickster.
yeah.
I thought it was weird that Alicia can't be a witch. Because she's like, I don't have it. It's like, what is that? Are we changing who's able to do magic in the world?
I think she just isn't a natural witch, right? She's not very good at it, but she can kind of.
Right.
But the brother, I love that he was the natural witch.
He's
I thought that was great. I thought it was such a cool way to
He's also gay.
He is.
Yeah.
He is.
Which is another part of that diversity push, which is okay. I mean, it works that he's gay. Because he's like, I'm going to go meet some bartenders.
Well, and it's so subtle with the two of them. You
Well,
know what I mean?
it's
not
great because he's like Dean, but gay. You know what I mean?
That is very true.
Gay Dean.
He is
Gay Dean. So now we're on episode 21, which again is pretty much filler, except we're ramping up into 22 and 23, which are our finale episodes.
I want to point out that from 1 to 12, we talked for a very long time. This is going to be super edited down. We talked for a very long time. We get to 13 on, and we're like, next.
Because there's nothing happening.
I know. I thought it should be pointed out.
It's like, if you're watching this week to week and not on Netflix, like I watch it, I don't know why you're coming back, except that you're a hardcore Supernatural fan. I don't know why any new person coming in right now would keep watching it.
There's no way they have.
You know what I
fans
mean?
at
I
this
feel
point.
like they have to have a problem getting new viewers.
Yeah.
And it really is torture to just watch it and be especially with this season, because like we said, I thought the first 6 episodes were pretty good, and then it just after that. Okay, so I did get that girl's name wrong. I said that her name was Leanne or something, and the deaf girl, it's Eileen.
You're right.
Come on, Eileen. And no one else knows the rest of the song. Tony, the psycho British woman of letters,
Lady Bevel.
comes back, Lady Bevel, and it's like, why?
I don't know.
She comes back, they've brainwashed Mary, which I'm like, why?
But it led up to probably my one of 2 favorite parts of the season.
Now we're on 22 and 23, and here's the problem. Having 7 filler episodes, now they have to cram so much shit into 22 and 23. Mm-hmm. So I don't know what they're planning. So Men of Letters, they decide, British Men of Letters, we're going to kill all the hunters.
Right.
What? Even if the hunters don't want to conform and be part of the British Men of Letters, after all, who cares?
Yeah.
You can still do what you want to do, and they'll do what they're going to do. They're not going to impair you at all.
Well, I mean, they are, because Sam and Dean already did, or have shown the potential. Mary has too.
Well, I mean, that's true, I guess, but they're just so militant about monsters that
Right.
they're going to kill humans that are also on the side of killing monsters.
Right.
Because they don't want to kill the monsters like they want to kill the monsters. It's like, fuck off.
Right. Super ridiculous.
They start killing all of them that we were introduced to this season. It's like, oh great, I'm glad we got to know them this season. 'Cause
Yeah,
you,
right.
you introduced them all just to kill them all. Got it. So episode 22, who we are, is them raiding the British Men of Letters compound. We're just gonna, all the hunters gang up and they're
We're
gonna take
roll in
on.
there.
And here's the thing. It's like, and we mentioned this earlier, it's like the British Men of Letters, they don't want to recruit any monsters or anything like that because they are, like you said, so against monsters. Why didn't the hunters bring any of their monster friends? Like, they all know monsters.
Yeah,
or they
that's
have,
true.
they know magic, they have magical items. Why are they just going in with guns?
Just guns blazing.
Just
Yeah.
guns blazing.
Because
and-
that's what
and tear
Americans
gas.
do.
That's how we do it in America. Don't
And
come
the
to our
British
doorstep.
have their teacups. Can I say the best scene?
Yeah.
Is when the like fucking blonde British guy comes out and he's like standing higher up, and then like the other dude is standing at the bottom. And they're having that conversation, and the blonde guy's just sipping his tea. I'm like, that is so British.
Oh, and I love
so
Mick.
ridiculous.
I didn't like that Mick
I
died.
did like Mick. I didn't want Mick to die. I would rather this other dude Ketch. I keep getting them confused. Yes, I'd rather Ketch die.
So they raid the British Men of Letters compound, and they kill him. They get rid of him.
Congrats.
In that episode.
Good job.
Oh, and it's revealed that Crowley's had a deal with the leader of the British Men of Letters all along. So now, finally, we're on episode 23. All along the Watchtower. And what's happened is Lucifer's son is about to be born. They find out where they're hiding out. They go there, and the baby is starting to emanate this power. Like, disasters. Weird stuff is going to happen where the Nephilim is going to be born. I'm like, yeah, weird stuff happens all over. Like, what are you talking about? What weird stuff?
Yeah, no like plague of locusts, no like, like biblical weird disasters. It's like a power outage.
He says plague of locusts, yeah, and then it's a power outage. It's like, well, that could be anything.
Literally. Have you watched a superhero movie?
Right. And then he's like, well, they tracked the source of the outage to a cabin in the middle of nowhere being rented by a James Novak.
Which brings me to a point about Castiel and the lack of like character development from seasons 5 to now.
Yeah.
Castiel, if we're assuming it's been years,
Yeah.
that's 7 years after. No, I mean he's introduced in like season 3, right?
I think it's 4, but go ahead.
Either way, almost 10 years he's been on this earth living
Yeah.
with humans.
Yeah.
He should know by now how to be sneaky. He uses Beyonce and Solange as agent names, as if that's not completely obvious and ridiculous.
Yeah.
You didn't know better by now? He says asshat again is like another like insult when he hits somebody, and I'm like, okay, that was funny the first time he did it. He has evolved past that. He's been in the world long enough to have learned something.
We also didn't mention the episodes where he and Crowley were a team. Hunting monsters.
Right. Which is like, that's great because I like the two of them. Like,
Yeah.
it kind of feels like we could have just cut out everything in between 5 and now.
Yeah.
Really and truly.
Yeah.
I don't think too much has come out of it that it's like, did we really get anything? Which I guess is like kind of jumping
Even
ahead.
because at
but,
the end
like,
of 5, God could have been like, without saying, it's like, here's your mom back, hang out with your mom.
Oh, totally. Like, all of this stuff could have been skipped because a lot of the things that I feel like the showrunners this season were trying to do is they were making callbacks. Those
Yeah.
2 hunters that come back, oh my god, they have the Disney, Walt and Roy.
Yes.
They are from like seasons somewhere between 1 and 5.
Yeah.
And it's like, I had to go look them back up and remember what they did to Sam and Dean.
Right.
And it's like, you totally could have cut out all of this bullshit.
The big thing in this episode is that the portal to the alternate world is open.
Oh, right. Sorry, that was what I was going to land on, is why did he use his actual name? Were you trying to hide or no?
Yeah. Hiding in plain sight.
He has been around long enough around the Winchesters to know that was a terrible
Well,
idea.
also they say that they've tracked the source of the power outage to this cabin, but then when everyone arrives at the cabin, there's no police, there's no fire trucks, there's no one investigating the source of this power outage.
Nervous about it, yeah.
They just show up and it's Castiel and Kelly. The baby opens a portal to this alternate world because it's just a fucking, like, side effect of the baby being close to being born. I thought that was weird. Like, because it opens a portal to, I guess it could be a random world. Castiel goes through and he sees, like, this awesome, like, landscape. You know, it's, like, very different from anything we've seen in Supernatural before. Like, even when Dean went to Purgatory, it was just a forest.
Yeah.
But this was, like, a barren, like, landscape with, like, these weird spires going into the sky. And I was cursing the screen. Because I'm like, this is the finale, and you're taking us to an alternate world in the last episode?
They borrowed that set from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Did they really?
I mean, it looks just like it. It looks like the season where they like go on a different planet. It looks very similar.
You know what I mean, though? It's like, okay, last episode, here's an alternate universe where Bobby
Right.
Singer is still alive.
Right.
What?
Remember the good old days? Bobby!
Right. Sam and Dean show up, and they're like, what's this back here? And he's like, oh, let me show you. And then he goes through the process of explaining it. And I'm like, we don't have time for this. There's an apocalyptic baby that needs to be born. Lucifer's on the way.
Babies take a long time to be born.
Not this one.
They had a lot of time on their hands.
I didn't even mention Dagon burning, melting the cult. The cult keeps going around and around. People steal it from the Winchesters. The Winchesters get it back.
Yeah.
It's like, when they were trying to figure out how to kill the one monster, Dean was like, I got it. Shoot it with the cult. And it's like, yeah, why don't you guys just do that all the time? So I think that's why they went ahead and melted the cult finally.
Yeah, but he asked Sam if he knows how to fix it, and Sam's like, maybe. So what's going to happen is they're going to fix it. He's going to make it better with the capabilities of killing Lucifer. And
Maybe.
the
We'll
cult,
see.
the big weapon from the beginning, is going to come back and save the day. Oh my god, Sam's going to put his soul into it.
Oh,
He's going to be, because
shit.
he's like Lucifer's
Yeah.
one, you know.
You know what's going to happen? He's going to have to cook it and eat it.
Ah!
He's going to become the cult. And he'll just have to touch things and he can kill them. You know? I mean, we get the description of this new world, right? And they're like, oh, we have a plan. Let's trap Lucifer in that world. Why did they think that was ever going to work?
I have no idea.
Crowley's like, oh, I got a spell that can help you out. And he does have a spell, and it does help them out, but it requires a life. And this is the part that was ruined for me, spoiled, is that Crowley died.
Right.
Which-
that's what got spoiled for you?
Yeah.
Oh.
So they killed him. But they also killed Castiel.
Yeah.
They killed Castiel again. I guess they figured if we're getting rid of Crowley, we gotta get rid of Castiel.
I read this like great review earlier today that was talking about how like so many people were introduced, and literally in like the last like half an hour they just like phased everybody out to where
Yeah.
it's like literally down to just Sam and Dean again.
What the fuck? So they do end up sealing Lucifer away in
With?
the... Huh?
I said
With Mary.
of course.
Fucking of course. It's like everything that we've been watching in this season, just like always happens at the end of a Supernatural season, gets wrapped up super quick in a super convenient way, and then we introduce the new big bad for the next season in the last moments of this finale, which was the child being born, you know, with light, killing Kelly, presumably, and then huddled in a corner, smiling creepily with those glowing golden eyes.
Right.
What they're going to do is the same thing they did with the British Men of Letters. In the beginning of the season, the Nephilim's going to seem like he wants to do good, and he's going to be like, okay, yeah, I'll pal around with you guys for a while, Sam and Dean, Uncle Sam and Uncle Dean. And then he's going to, by episode 7, he's going to see something that, you know, betrays his trust in humanity, and then he's going to flip and be like, nope, it all needs to be burned to the ground. Final thoughts? Overall, season 12, what'd you think?
So I think as I was watching it, I was like enjoying myself. I don't know, I shouldn't use air quotes. I was enjoying myself when I was watching it, but I think it's because I've been away from it for so long that I was like, oh great, my favorite like bad guy is back, played by my favorite version of him. I really liked Mary coming back. Obviously I love the Winchesters. Like Dean is still one of my favorite like TV characters. One of my favorite parts is when they're sitting in the car or at the table carving their legacy.
Jerking off?
Sorry, I was trying to do like carving or whatever.
Oh, you're carving something.
Carving their initials on the table.
Yeah.
And they like have this whole conversation about legacy.
Yeah.
It was one of my favorite parts of the show because I feel like maybe the showrunners are really trying to go back to what it was. They, you know, they have to do a lot of undoing for the past couple of seasons. But it felt like they were talking about as the characters what their legacy is going to be, because neither of them have family left behind in terms of like children, things like that. It doesn't really look like they're going to anytime soon. And I think that's a very important part of their character growth, because the whole show for me seems like what makes you human is what drives them, and it's family and it's things like that, and they like have that kind of moral crisis about what makes you human and what makes you like connected to humanity, things like that. Them having that conversation really like got me a little bit. And as a show, I think they're starting to think about it. I talked to a friend about Scandal and Grey's Anatomy. They were talking to me about that show, saying that like Scandal's getting canceled and it hasn't been on as long as Grey's Anatomy has, and both Shonda Rhimes shows. And the thing that she said to me that stuck out was, I'm glad that Scandal is ending before it becomes known as what Grey's Anatomy is, a show that just won't stop. And I don't want Supernatural to be that if it hasn't already become that. Is I want their legacy to be something besides a show that went on too long. One of the like best parts of the show, I think, is when Dean tells his mom he hates her. Like, I definitely cried. And Mary Winchester's been like the thing that has driven them for so long. And to watch this kind of version of her that isn't what they wanted, it was a moment where you finally saw some growth in him that I did not expect. Like, I wanted it so bad. And here he is telling her how he hates her, but he loves her, and it's like, it was the realest moment, I think. That's what I have to say about that. Until you say something that triggers me.
If the next season is all episodes like the first 6, I think they'll have a good season on their hands. I would hope that the legacy for Supernatural, once it is finally over, is that we'll be able to say, man, the first 5 seasons were so good, and then the rest of them were shit until that final season.
Yeah.
Not every show can be Breaking Bad, where Walter White changes so much and then it's done, it's over. I just hope they don't bring Lucifer back. I just want to see them try to do new things. I want to see monster team-ups, is what I want to see. I want to see a smart vampire be like, you know what? Let me get some werewolves, let me get some witches together, and we're going to form this evil society. And we're gonna be the big bad of this season. We're gonna be the evil. We're gonna be the Sinister Six. Let's do it. Supernatural Sinister Six, season 14. That's what it's gonna be.
So my question that you asked last time is how do you think it's gonna end? I know what you want. You want your Sinister Six, but how do you think it's actually gonna end?
I hope it ends Notebook style.
They don't remember, and they're telling the story to people.
No, that they both die at the same time.
Oh.
Because then there won't be a brother to try to save or resurrect the other brother.
Right.
I think they need to take down Lucifer for good, or it's going to be another big bad that we can't anticipate. And they're going to struggle, take him down. They're going to be bleeding out on the floor, and Chuck is going to appear, and he's going to say, with John by his side, and maybe Mary too. He's going to say, Chuck's going to look at him and say, "You did real good, boys. Come on home."
I thought you were gonna start singing "Carry On My Wayward Son."
Well, that would play.
Yeah.
They're gonna do something that's gonna like rid the world of monsters, forever. And then they're gonna be healed, and they're gonna stand up, and they're gonna walk through the gates of heaven together. And for you, how do you want it to end?
So I think I said this last time, and I still kind of stick to it, that I want it to be like they go on trial, deciding whether they're going to go to heaven or hell.
Yes,
because I think it would be really nice to bring back all these people whose lives they feel very responsible for and things like that, decide where they're going to go. And then half of me is like still in like lost finale mode where it's going to be like that. They both close their eyes at the same time, knowing that they're going to cross over with all these people that they care about. Or they wouldn't use "Carry On My Wayward Son." They wouldn't use that if there isn't the idea that, like, you guys have worked so hard and fought so long that, like, when it's time to rest, like, you're gonna get your happy ending.
Don't you cry, no.
Exactly. So it's gotta be, like, some kind of ending like that. But
imagining them, like, either driving off into the moonlight or ascending through the gates of heaven, and it does, but "Don't you cry no more." Blackout like that. It gives me chills thinking about that. But I really like what you're saying about the trials, whether they're going to go to heaven or hell, because I imagine Chuck as the judge, and then a jury of Chucks.
Yeah.
Then Lucifer as the accusation. What's that position
I don't know.
Prosecutor. And then Crowley and Castiel as their defense team.
Perfect.
Supernatural, get on this shit. Get that effects budget
Or just
up.
put us in the writer's room. Because clearly, we know what we're talking about.
You got thoughts. Yeah. Alright, I think that wraps it up. Any other? I mean, I think we can keep going.
I mean, I guarantee you after
5
this
hours.
is over, it's going to be like another 20 hours of conversation.
Oh, yeah.
We'll be back for season 13.
Because now we can finally talk about it.
Oh,
because before we couldn't talk about it because we had to wait to record it.
Right.
Which was annoying.
Because you like have so many.
Because you're the only person I know that watches Supernatural that also cares enough to like talk about it like this with
like
me.
with the same eyes as you.
Oh yeah. Well, even if I don't know. Even if there's someone out there that like really loves season 12, like I'd like to know why.
I was just gonna say that if you like what has happened in between, I honest to God want to know why.
Yeah.
Like, please give us your thoughts. On
Comments
that.
below.
Really
Yeah,
curious.
we will be looking at all those comments as I always try to do. Once again, my name is Justin. This is
Katie.
If you like this video and you'd like to see more videos like it, you can subscribe to our channel, The Timid Jester. You can also leave a comment down below, like we already said, to start that discussion down there. You can also like the video and share it with any other Supernatural fans, Hunter, Winchester heads that you know and that you love and respect and want to share these thoughts with too. And now we're going to end with Katie and I singing our own rendition in harmony of Carry On, My Wayward Son. Are you ready? 1, 2, 3.